Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to my training series. I hope everybody's doing okay, I hope you're hanging in there. Hey, in the last couple weeks I've had a few more channel members join the channel. A big thank you to all of you for giving some extra support to the channel. If you are out there interested in supporting the channel, of course, please do like and subscribe, that does help. And if you're interested in supporting us financially, YouTube does offer super thanks, and then we've got channel memberships where for I think $2.99 a month you can just support us a little bit extra financially, and we've got some extra bonus videos for channel members. Thank you all for supporting the channel, and thank you for encouraging me. This has been a fun project, and I'm glad that so many people are enjoying watching the training. So speaking of training, let's get into this last week. Alright, Monday was a rest day. I mostly traveled home from Arizona and from last week's trip, and I did spend a good amount of time at the airport editing the video of the big run on Saturday. And I also spent time on the airplane doing that too. Man, thank God for airplane Wi-Fi. I was able to do some of my 3D Google Earth animations from the plane. I'm just amazed what technology allows now. So anyway, if you haven't had a chance to check out the long form video of last Saturday's run, I hope you enjoy it. I enjoyed making the video, and I've enjoyed watching it too. It was fun to reminisce about the great run. On Tuesday, I was assigned an easy run. I was really happy for an easy assignment. I was actually feeling really tired from last week's adventure. And after my run, I did my core strength workout. Again, because of how tired I was, this was really challenging. Then after work, I did my yoga session via Zoom. I really like this yoga class. It's offered by Y East Wolfpack, a group based in Portland, Oregon. I started doing this remote Zoom series during COVID lockdown. And even though sometimes I get distracted by life, I've been really focusing on it lately, trying to be more consistent, and I really do like the class. So there's a link below in the description if you'd like to join me on Tuesday evenings for some really great yoga. On Wednesday, I was assigned some easy running with some fartlek speed pickups. I did this run on a flat paved trail, and it generally felt pretty good. Thursday was LT intervals and strength day. This week's LT intervals had me going 4 times 8 minutes hard with 4 minutes easy. The running felt pretty good, and again I paid more attention to not overdoing the hard interval. And then in the afternoon I did my core strength routine again. On Friday I was assigned an easy 40 minutes. It was pretty cold out and I wasn't feeling like going outside, so I just opted for the treadmill. I thought it might be more interesting if instead of just setting the treadmill to 3% and just running for 40 minutes, I instead chose an iFit workout, one of Sally McRae's runs. I just covered the screen and watched YouTube for a few minutes. It felt pretty good. Sometimes I think that the treadmill got a little bit too aggressive for the easy run I was going for, and during some of the super steep parts, I could actually feel my shoes starting to slip. I'm really sweaty and the sweat was dripping on the tread, and it almost felt like I might slip. But I had a good workout anyway. I was glad to at least avoid having to go outside into the cold. For my Saturday long run, I was assigned 3.5 hours. I ran at Lord Hill and just felt tired most of the whole time. It was definitely a slower day, but I pressed through the tired to do all 3.5 hours. This run is going slow. I feel pretty low energy today. Alas, I'll get it done. It's just, I'm not going to go quite as far in my time, I don't think. Oh, all right, but just onward, one foot in front of the other. By the end of the 3.5 hours, I was starting to get a little bit more energy in my body. Mostly, it felt good to finish. I was actually really happy with how the route looked on the map afterwards, too. Finally, on Sunday, I was assigned 90 minutes easy running. The run actually felt a lot better than the day before. I wasn't as tired. So I think after a little bit more rest this next Monday, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting some more energy leading into a marathon next week. Overall, a great week of training. Pushing through the fatigue after last weekend's big day, I did a total of 46 miles with 9 hours and 43 minutes of running. Okay, I got a few questions from some folks down in the comments. Our friend Matteo was asking me about what I do for my headlamps. So he was asking specifically about which models of lamps I'm using. And so I have some show and tell. The headlamp that I use is this old Petzl. It's got battery on the back. It just goes on my head basically like this. You've probably seen this in my videos. I love having a headlamp like this that has the weight of the battery on the back, so it's more balanced than having a heavy front end. This is an older lamp though, so I'm gonna have to figure out a replacement for it in case of the day this thing decides to die on me. But I also use a waist lamp, and this is the UltrAspire Lumen 850 Duo. I love waist lamps in general, but I really love this waist lamp. UltrAspire has a lot of great waist lamps. And you know, the Kegel is a really popular waist lamp solution. It works really well. It's really bright, but I think it's a little bit complicated because you have to have a separate battery. The cable is pretty long. You have to figure out how to mount it. You have to figure out how to store the battery. You have to figure out how to route the cable. There's just a lot to figure out. This thing is very compact. In fact, the only thing about the lamp itself is right here. This is all just the waistband. So the lamp itself has, you can open up the end and replace the battery. And so what I do is I carry an extra battery as a backup, you know, leave for the segment with a full battery, and then I run with this this lamp at its lowest brightness. So 850 lumens is its brightest brightness. I'm not sure what the lumens are for the lowest, but in the middle of the night when I have the lowest lumens on to illuminate the ground in front of me, the lowest level is perfectly good, and it lasts pretty much all night long on that single battery. But I will still have that backup battery just in case. So with the two lamps, the waist lamp illuminating the ground in front of me so I kick fewer rocks. Then I can use my headlamp to look further out into the future. I can use my headlamp to look further out into the trail, looking for course markers or just any other trail changes, turns and intersections and stuff. Anyway, I love it as a way to run, and so I'll be happy to encourage anyone to follow that way to go. So yeah, I absolutely love that setup, and you know, actually, if anybody has some good suggestions for something I can replace my old Petzl with, maybe a newer Petzl, I just want something that has, you know, that can hopefully run all night long on a single charger on a single set of batteries, but I do like having the weight of the battery pack on the rear side. Okay, another question about gear. Someone was asking me what watch I'm using. So this on my wrist here is the Garmin Enduro 2. I guess I was going to turn the screen on, but you're so far away, I'm not sure it really matters. But the Garmin Enduro 2, anyway, that's it. It's just a watch. I don't use all the functionality of the Garmin Enduro 2. I like it because it has a long battery life. But what I really like about the Garmin is a feature called ClimbPro. I think it's actually one word, but if you're following a route, so I load the route onto the watch and then navigate to follow it. I never look at the map on the watch, as I've talked about in a previous video, because the screen's too small. But the ClimbPro feature, when you are navigating a route, will allow you to get information about the hills that you're currently on, tell you how long till the top of the climb and how much vertical gain is yet to climb. So when I'm in some big climbs, it's really helpful for me to look at my watch and see that data about, gosh, how much longer until I get to the top of the climb. So anyway, Garmin Enduro 2. Now during an event on my other watch, I have a Garmin Enduro 1. So I have this older watch that I'm continuing to use as a second watch. And in Cocodona and other big events, I like having that second watch for a number of reasons. First off, as a backup recording, because I haven't recently, but in 2022, I did have a number of times where my primary Garmin watch was having some problems. Since then, I've had software updates which seem to have solved those crashes, but I do like having a backup recording. So the second watch gives me that, but the second watch also gives me additional data screens. So for example, when I was coming down towards the finish of Cocodona last year, on my right watch, I had the ETA displaying what time, based on my current pace, I was expected to reach the end of the segment, which was the finish of the run. And on my left watch, I had the current time. So I was able to just check my 2 watches, be like, okay, it says I'm going to be done at whatever 4:44, and I'm like, well, what time is it now? Oh, it's 4:30. Oh, okay. So you could switch the data screens, of course, on one watch, but if you're lucky enough to have 2 watches in your life, it's really nerdy, and it's also really advantageous to just have additional data screens. So I like doing that. All right, so that's what I'm doing for watches. And then the last question I have is from Steven, asking about what reasons for running keep me going when I'm struggling in the worst parts of an ultra. And I'm afraid I don't have a really interesting answer here. I know a lot of runners talk about having a why and writing down their why for something to reflect upon when it gets really tough. And I think for me, I just expect the whole thing to be tough. It's a part of the journey. And actually, if you remember my Cocodona inaugural year video, I had a section where I had a really awesome sermon delivered to me by Kerry Ward, talking about how the difficulty of the event is the point. And so you need to sort of, accept it and feel it, move on from it. But at the same time, it's a part of the journey to feel the suffering and to experience it. And that's just a part of the growth and a part of the journey. So when I'm having a real hard time in an ultra, generally, I'm suffering. I feel like that's kind of the whole point. But, I also am strongly motivated to finish the thing. So, I think it's just for me, I keep going because that's what I want to do. I want to keep going. Now, if I was, God forbid, let me knock on something. I hope it doesn't happen that I get actually injured and I, have to actually leave a race early. Although that did happen one time. I think it was a Scout Mountain 100 miler in 2021. My feet weren't quite ready after doing Cocodona. They were still injured, and so in that race, it's kind of injury prevented me from finishing. But in general, I haven't had any injury problems, and so for me, I just press on. That's what it's all about. Onward, onward, onward. Just enjoying the feeling of suffering and how strong we are to move through it. So, some thoughts about how I'm handling that thing. Okay, all right. Well, that's a look at the questions from this week. Thank you, everybody, for sending them. If you have any questions, please leave them below in the comments. If you have any other thoughts about the series, would love to hear from you. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I wish for you a really wonderful week. And with that, I'll see you next week. All right, take care. Bye-bye.